Huntington's disease is an autosomal dominant degenerative neurological disease. To quote the Huntington's Disease Society of America, Huntington's disease, or known as HD, is a fatal genetic disorder that causes the progressive breakdown of nerve cells within the brain. It deteriorates a person physically and mentally during their prime working years, and it has no cure. HD is known as the quintessential family disease because every child with a parent affected by Huntington's disease has a 50-50 chance of carrying the faulty gene. Today, there are approximately 30,000 symptomatic Americans and more than 200,000 at risk of inheriting the disease. People with Huntington's disease normally develop it in their late 30s, early 40s, and the people can live 15 to 20 years after their diagnosis. The gene produces a mutated Huntington protein. The gene is not fully understood, but organizations are putting more money into finding out why this happens. The mutation is very distinct. It causes too many CAG repeats within the protein. This codes for the amino acid glutamine. To cause this mutation, you need more than 40 CAG repeats. A normal gene has 10 to 30 CAG repeats, while an affected brain can have over 100 repeats. The abnormally long chain breaks off into smaller clumps, which are toxic to brain cells. Over time, the brain cells become damaged and die, causing loss of function. As generations with the Huntington's disease progresses, the number of CAG repeats grows. If an effective mother has 50 CAG repeats, her child may have 60 CAG repeats. The higher number of repeats, the sooner you would develop the disease. As generations pass the dominant allele on, the generation develops this disease earlier and earlier, which is what causes juvenile Huntington's disease. A child with an effective parent has a 50-50 chance of developing Huntington's disease later in life. When symptoms start to show, at first they may be mild, such as mood changes and irritability and paranoia. These are followed by decline in coordination and changes in their gait or the way the person walks. The basal ganglia is where the majority of the damage occurs, and this begins to cause random movements that the person can't control. Over time, the person loses their ability to walk, talk, eat, and eventually they need round-the-clock care. People describe this as having ALS, Parkinson's disease, and Alzheimer's all at the same time. So far, there are no cures for Huntington's disease, only treatments to help slow the symptoms. Treatments for Huntington's disease include antipsychotic drugs, antidepressants, and tranquilizers. In the recent years, there has been a major breakthrough in the race to find a cure for Huntington's disease. Today, they are working on the cure, and the leader of the team is Professor Sarah J. Tabitzi of the University College of London Institute of Neurology. The drug they are testing is IONIS-HTT-RX. This lowers the level of mutated Huntington's protein in the brain. They have finished their first clinical trial, and the company is launching their second huge clinical trial. The cure is on the horizon, and if this is successful in the second clinical trial, it could revolutionize the world of dementia. The following is a video describing the major breakthrough and the process to find this cure.
It's been described as Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, and ALS all rolled into one crippling condition. Huntington's disease attacks the brain. It affects one's motor skills, even their own self-awareness with reality. Though today, there could be new hope for thousands following a massive medical breakthrough, which scientists right here in Canada have played a vital role in.
I'm cautiously optimistic that this could not only halt the progression of the disorder, but could lead to significant improvement in symptoms.
Today's promising news is more than 10 years in the making. 46 patients from the UK, Germany, and here in Canada have been part of an initial trial. The very first patient was treated in Vancouver in September of 2015, and the results have caught the world's attention. UBC's Dr. Blair Leavitt is one of the international researchers leading the way.
This is the first time that a treatment in people has been shown to be safe and has shown that it alters the levels of the abnormal protein that causes Huntington's disease.
Those with the disease carry a mutation in the Huntington gene, which results in the production of a toxic protein that attacks the brain and nervous system.
Basically means that parts of their brain just really stop working. They lose a lot of cognitive, motor, physical functionality, and it's really quite a horrific disease.
There are not many good days when you have a neurodegenerative disorder.
Dr. Kareem Nader is a neuroscientist at McGill University, previously named one of Canada's top 40 under 40 by the Globe and Mail. Huntington's disease is attacking what many would call his beautiful mind, while also impeding his motor skills.
It affects every aspect of our life, right? Each time you're trying to board a plane to come back from a conference or go to a conference, all the border agents are convinced that you must have been drinking. There were times when I was going to be removed from the plane.
It's a genetic disease. Children who have a parent with Huntington's have a 50-50 chance of inheriting it. The consequences are also fatal, with many dying from a list of complications, including pneumonia and heart failure.
We've advanced into a new era. We're now using all the information that we've gathered over the last 20 years and really targeting the causes of this disease.
The next step is for phase 3 of the trial to prove the treatment, which is an injection into the spine, can stop the disease in its tracks. A step Dr. Kareem Nader will be taking part in, giving him and thousands of others hope for a promising future.
It's like, I guess, a blessing, right? I guess if you believe in evolution, you don't say it's a miracle. Let's say it's a genetic miracle. Yeah, it's a genetic miracle.
There's no word on when this next exciting stage of the clinical trial will begin here in Canada. We're told it will be announced in the very near future. I'm Adrian Gobriel for City News.
The world is beginning to see how years of research can truly make a difference. The Huntington sufferers aren't giving up, and neither should you. This shows how years of hard work, they're finally breaking through and finding a cure. If this clinical trial works, this disease could save hundreds of thousands over the world. Experts spent years trying to crack this disease, and all their years of hard work are finally beginning to pay off. The darker side of Huntington's disease that never gets addressed is juvenile Huntington's disease. Kids as young as 10 can begin to show symptoms of the disease. When most people think Huntington's disease, they think parents and grandparents developing symptoms. But around 5 to 10% of all people with Huntington's disease are children. In the following video, you will get to hear some of their stories and see their struggles.
Mia would have been 19 this year. Mia's dad and I were married in 1996. His mother had Huntington's disease when I met him, and I just remember thinking it was the worst disease ever. It tore our family apart.
My husband had Huntington's disease, and now Sheenam, my daughter, has Huntington's. Sheenam used to fall down quite a bit, but is that right, isn't it, Sheenam? Used to fall down quite a bit. So for me it was just like a normal thing that a child does.
I knew I had.
You knew you had it?
Yeah.
When I was dating Ellie's dad, I did know that they had HD in their family. And then I became pregnant, and I knew that she was at risk. The one thing that we thought for sure is that we had a lot of time on our hands. And I thought, I just have a tiny little baby, and we have lots of years and lots of technology to develop, so we'll just deal with it if we ever need to.
Kobe was 7 years old when he was diagnosed. He would trip over things, drop things.
He used to fall down the stairs.
Yeah, he used to fall down the stairs and all of that kind of stuff, really.
It was upsetting sometimes, but I got through it because I really loved him a lot. He was my best brother I ever had.
The only one you ever had.
And we were best friends as well. We did everything together.
Eloise was diagnosed 2 months before Kobe died, and that was the summer of 2008.
After hearing and seeing the horrors of Huntington's disease, the Huntington's Disease Society of America is urging you to donate. The world has lost too many beautiful souls to this painful disease. This charity has helped better the lives of thousands of sufferers, and with your help, they could finally find a cure that would save millions in the future. The Huntington's Disease Society of America has been around since 1968. They support money for research and coordinate volunteers for patients. They also organize walks to raise money to fight this horrible disease. Charities all around the world are donating in the race to find a cure. You can be a part of that race. These people are slowly dying and their brain is slowly being poisoned. People need you to donate money to help this cause, and you could make the difference in saving someone's life. So please, donate now to the Huntington's Disease Society of America.